What is accessory dwelling unit? Are you thinking about investing in an ADU? If so, you're not alone. Interest in these smaller homes is rising as more people look for ways to diversify their investment portfolios. While there are several factors to consider before making such a purchase, an ADU can be an excellent option for those looking for long-term stability and growth potential. Hello everyone, welcome to The Finance Wisdom. If you are new to this channel, do like and subscribe to the channel. This video will discuss ADU investment. What is accessory dwelling unit? We'll also provide tips on getting started with your own investment. So if you're considering adding an ADU to your property portfolio, watch. So first, what is accessory dwelling unit? An accessory dwelling unit or ADU is a small living space separate from but attached to a single family home. ADUs are often used as rental income property, guest quarters, or in-law suites. They can be either attached to the main house or detached, typically having their kitchen, bathroom, and sleeping area. In some cases, they may also have their entrance. While the specifics of ADUs vary from jurisdiction to another, they are generally smaller than primary dwelling unit on the property. They must meet all local zoning and building code requirements. As the demand for housing continues to increase, accessory dwelling units are becoming an increasingly popular option for homeowners who want to add value to their property. What are the benefits of having one in your home or property? There are several benefits to having an accessory dwelling unit on your property, including, first, increased property value. An ADU can increase the value of your property by as much as 20%. Second, rental income. An ADU can provide additional income if you rent it out. Third, flexibility. An ADU can be used for various purposes, such as a rental unit, guest quarters, or in-law suite. Fourth, extra living space. An ADU can provide you with extra living space that can be used for any purpose you desire. Fifth, increased privacy. An ADU can provide increased privacy since it is separate from the primary dwelling unit. Sixth, versatility. An ADU can be designed to meet your specific needs and wants. Seventh, energy efficiency. An ADU can be built to be energy efficient, saving you money on utility bills. 8. Environmentally friendly. An ADU can be constructed with environmentally friendly materials and methods, which can help reduce your carbon footprint. Finally, sustainable. An ADU can be designed to be sustainable, which means it can be used for generations. The different types of ADUs and how to choose the right one for you. There are two main types of accessory dwelling units, attached and detached. Attached ADUs are typically connected to the primary dwelling unit on the property, while detached ADUs are entirely separate structures. There are pros and cons to both types of ADUs, so it is essential to consider what would work best for your specific needs and wants. Firstly, attached ADUs. The pro. An attached ADU can be less expensive to build than a detached ADU, since it does not require its foundation or utilities. The con. An attached ADU may be less private than a detached ADU, since it is connected to the primary dwelling unit. Secondly, detached ADUs. The pro. A detached ADU can provide more privacy since it is a separate structure from the primary dwelling unit. The con. A detached ADU can be more expensive to build than an attached ADU since it requires its foundation and utilities. How much does an ADU cost to build, and what are some common features? The cost to build an ADU can vary depending on several factors, such as the size of the unit, the materials used, the location, and whether it is attached or detached. However, the average cost to build an ADU is between $20,000 and $50,000. Some standard features of ADUs include kitchen. An ADU typically includes a small kitchen with essential appliances. Bathroom. An ADU typically includes a small bathroom with a shower and toilet. Sleeping area. An ADU typically includes a sleeping area such as a bedroom or loft. Living area. An ADU typically includes a small living area such as a living room or den. Storage. An ADU typically includes storage space such as closets or cabinets. What are the zoning and building code requirements for ADUs? The zoning and building code requirements for ADUs vary from one jurisdiction to another. It is essential to check with your local zoning office to see what is allowed in your specific area. Some common requirements for ADUs include: Number 1. Size. The size of an ADU is typically limited to a certain percentage of the primary dwelling unit on the property or a certain number of square feet. Number 2. Setbacks. Setback requirements may dictate how close an ADU can be to the property line. Number 3. Parking. Parking requirements may dictate how many off-street parking spaces must be provided for an ADU. Number 4. Utilities. The ADU must be connected to the same utilities as the primary dwelling unit on the property. Number 5. Accessory use. The ADU must be used as an accessory to the primary dwelling unit on the property and cannot be used as a separate dwelling unit. What are some common design considerations for ADUs? Some design considerations need to be taken into account when designing an ADU, such as size. The ADU should be appropriate for the intended use and should not overpower the primary dwelling unit on the property. Style. The ADU style should complement the property's primary dwelling unit. Materials. The materials used for the ADU should be of good quality and match the materials used for the primary dwelling unit on the property. Layout. The layout of the ADU should be functional and efficient. Accessibility. The ADU should be accessible for all users, including those with disabilities. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. What are some common problems with ADUs? Several potential problems can occur with ADUs, such as: First, zoning and building code violations. If the ADU does not comply with the local zoning and building code requirements, it can be subject to fines or demolition. Second, nuisances. If the ADU is not well designed or managed, it can become a nuisance to the neighbors, such as being too loud or causing too much traffic. Third, maintenance issues. If the ADU is not maintained correctly, it can fall into disrepair and become an eyesore. Fourth, safety hazards. If the ADU is not adequately designed or constructed, it can pose a safety hazard to the occupants and the neighbors. Finally, financial issues. If the ADU is not managed correctly, it can become a financial burden, such as causing an increase in property taxes. What are some tips for managing an ADU? There are several things to keep in mind when managing an ADU, such as zoning and building code compliance. The ADU must comply with the local zoning and building code requirements. Nuisances. The ADU should be well designed and managed to avoid being a nuisance to the neighbors. Maintenance. The ADU should be adequately maintained to avoid falling into disrepair. Safety. The ADU should be appropriately designed and constructed to avoid a safety hazard to the occupants and the neighbors. Financial management. The ADU should be appropriately managed to avoid becoming a financial burden. How to build an ADU on your property. Building an accessory dwelling unit on your property is a big decision, but it can be a great way to provide additional living space for family, friends, or even renters. If you're considering building an ADU, you should keep a few things in mind, such as the zoning requirements in your area and the building code. You'll also need to decide on the size, style, and layout of the unit, as well as the materials you'll use. Once you have all this information, you can start designing and building your ADU. We hope that this video has helped you answer your question about what is accessory dwelling unit. The trend of accessory dwelling units is growing, and with good reason. ADUs provide homeowners with an additional source of income, while also helping to ease the housing crisis in many cities. If you're considering adding an ADU to your property, there are a few things to remember. By following these tips, you can ensure that your ADU is safe, legal, and meets all your needs. Thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Thank you and goodbye.